Right, it's a little after 5 o'clock. I apologize for the delays. It's time for our monthly meeting of the Logansport Common Council. Today's date is Monday, October 6th. If you would, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Here.
Bob Bishop.
Here.
Joe Buck.
Here.
Gary Fox.
Here.
Charlie Hastings.
Here.
Chuck Liddell.
Present.
Teresa Popejoy. Present.
All members are present. Approval of minutes from the September 2nd, September 11th, and September 17th special council meetings, please.
Your Honor, I motion that all three sets of minutes be accepted and approved as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on approval of minutes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy. Yes.
Minutes are approved on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against. Under comments of the Mayor Council, most of you did not have the privilege of working with former LMU Superintendent Klaus Hamburger, but I did for many years. He's one of the smartest men that I've ever dealt with in my life. The guy knew his business, and he is largely responsible for the turnaround of LMU. Many of you don't remember, but in the late 70s, especially 1979, I can remember the red lights, the traffic signals in downtown not being able to function because there was not enough electricity to actually operate the red lights. Every other street light was turned off again because there was not enough electricity. I know we've spent our fair share of time dealing with LMU and electrical issues in the last 2.5 years, but I wanted to let you know that Klaus is recovering from surgery that he had last week. He's doing remarkably well, although he is still in very serious condition. I would appreciate it, and I believe we all owe Klaus a debt of gratitude, but I would appreciate it if you keep him in your prayers as he struggles through this next few weeks. It will be really important to him. Under petitions or comments of citizens, are there any? Hearing none. Reports from committees, boards, and commissions.
Mayor Franklin, the Finance Committee met in September and discussed several of the, well, most all of the issues that are on the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other reports from committees, boards, or commissions? Hearing none. Under old business, ordinance 2014-39. Councilman Liddell, please.
Ordinance 2014-39, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the additional appropriation for the clerk treasurer. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-39.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-39 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on 1439.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-39 passes on second and final reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-40. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Ordinance 2014-40, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending Ordinance 2008-48 in its entirety, which now establishes the rules for the Logansport Parks Department. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Ordinance 2014-40.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-40 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilman Bishop.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to strike number 14 from this resolution. Ordinance, actually. It's in the Parks resolution, though.
Yeah, City Council Ordinance Parks Resolution.
Yeah, it's line 14 says no gambling, glass bottles, or profanity within the parks. I know that Chief Clark and Jan Foley both met on this, and I believe they both agreed to approve this.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to strike number 14?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, properly seconded. Is there any further discussion regarding the amendment to strike number 14, no gambling, glass bottles, or profanity within the park? Call for a vote on the amendment.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
The amendment is approved on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now for ordinance 2014-40 in its entirety on second and final reading.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-40 is approved on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Under new business, approval of the 2015 budget. Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Mayor Franklin, the council met on a couple of different occasions and discussed with department heads the 2015 budget request and made changes as they felt appropriate and changes that needed to be made from errors or whatever the case was. There were several cuts that were made and changes in the respect. In the mayor's office, there was $3,913 cut between office furniture and salaries and benefits. In the clerk's office, there was a decrease of $2,866 due to staffing changes. In the IT department, there was $12,000 cut in managed services and for equipment purchases. In the Board of Works, the animal warden and part-time animal warden were moved to the police department, so their salaries and benefits were decreased. Contracted services were decreased by $100,000, but then demolition was added in the amount of $100,000, moving monies from the pool budget. In the planning department, the $75,000 was listed 2 different places in the budget, so one of those was removed. In the police department, as I spoke about earlier, the animal warden and part-time animal warden plus benefits, salaries and benefits were moved from the Board of Works. In the parks department, there were cuts of
Fireworks.
$9,000. Part of that was in fireworks and part of that was in a copier. The entire budget for the pool was deleted because the pool will be closed and demolished, and $100,000 of that was moved to the Board of Works for that demolition. In the Lowett Public Safety, it was decreased $30,000 because there was one item that was budgeted 3 different places, so that was a correction. In Economic Development, there was $35,000 reduction in CLETO and CLETO training total. And in Law Enforcement Capital, there was a $30,000 reduction, again, because that $30,000 was 3 different places in the budget, and it only needed to be one place. So the council decreased the budget $351,050, plus whatever happened with benefits. That was salaries, how the benefits worked out. So it is our recommendation at this time to consider it at that. We have, council, we have received a request from Chief Clark. Purchase of tactical team equipment was left out of the budget in error. He didn't see that until after we've reviewed the budget with him. He's requesting $5,000 be put in for that so that he can purchase tactical equipment. I would suggest this is an appropriate expense from Lowett, so I would request that we put that in the Lowett fund as opposed to general fund, because it is for equipment, and that's what the Lowett fund is for.
We're going to take it out of the Lowett fund or put it into the...
Put it in, put a $5,000
From where?
line item in the budget. It was nowhere.
Oh.
It was left out. It was left out of the budget completely.
And that is an appropriate expense.
That's what Lowett's designed for.
Right.
So. And then I believe the mayor may also have a request.
Yeah, and Teresa, thank you for all your hard work. I know it's sometimes very difficult to keep up with the changes as they're coming at you. And I believe that at least I thought the discussion ended at a couple different places than what you just reported. Under rowing managed services, I thought the cut was $10,000 and not $12,000, and that's ultimately a council decision. But then also, I believe there was one.
It was 10,000.
It was 10,000.
Yes,
Okay,
and then 20,000 for the Mondo pad.
right. Okay, because the Mondo pad wasn't mentioned as you went through just
Right,
now.
It was $10,000.
Okay, it was 10,000 and the Mondo pad was 20,000.
Correct,
So
30,000 altogether.
30. Okay, I'll go along with that.
I'm sorry if I said it incorrectly.
No, it's. I'm telling you, it's hard to keep track of everything. Rapid fire coming at you like that. And I do have a list that it was even hard for me to keep up with as you were reading through them. But I believe we're on the same page with just about everything. I think what we need to do here as a matter of procedure is to have a motion that would reduce those amounts that you just stated from the budget as it's read from those line items. At that point in time, I'm going to make another request to council to reinstate those cuts into a different line item.
Mayor Franklin, I'd like to request that we approve the recommended cuts to the budget and the addition of the $5,000 for the police department tactical team equipment in Lowell Public Safety.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the amendments that were just offered by Finance Chairman Popejoy? Now's probably the time. Come on up, Aaron. While you're taking your seat, I want to go ahead and ask council if they have questions, comments about the amendments that were just offered. Okay, as it stands at this point, it's been moved and properly seconded. We're now to discussion with
On our
Aaron.
budget, when we submitted, I think it's capital fund is 444 series, where you have to spend $750 to be able to actually pull from that series. We have $1,000 in there. We never buy anything for $750, and so we wanted to move that $1,000 into our office equipment versus in that area, so that we can.
the same fund, so she technically doesn't need it.
Well, I thought I couldn't transfer from the 444 to the office equipment.
Different main numbers.
Okay, so it doesn't change your bottom line. You're just asking
no, I
it
just
to go.
need to move it so that we can use it, because if not, we don't use
Is
it
that for
because
the
we don't spend
14
anything.
budget or 15?
15.
15.
It's in the 15 budget.
We don't spend anything $750, so we actually need to move that to the other fund where we can spend $50 here and there out of it.
Right, and again, I think that's a State Board of Accounts requirement.
Yeah,
It's
so I
another
just need to
restriction.
move it, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that until after I submitted my budget.
Yeah,
From
there's-
where to where now?
Carol, so do you have that? I didn't have a budget, I'm sorry.
I can look it up.
Just-
I looked in the packets to see if there was
It's
a
going
budget.
from capital outlay to her equipment.
to office equipment, from capital outlay to office equipment.
So that's my only.
And I would need that in the form of a motion from council as well.
We have a motion currently on the floor that's been
Okay, yeah.
properly seconded, so we have to vote on that first.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Is there any other discussion on the First Amendment that was offered? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on the First Amendment that's been offered.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
and Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Okay, the amendment passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now, if there's another amendment to honor the request from the Planning Department regarding the transfer from one line item to another. Carol Sue, can you tell us the line items again?
Capital outlay.
To office equipment.
Yeah, I'd like to offer an amendment for Planning Department to move the fund from capital outlay to office equipment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding moving $1,000 within the Planning Department's budget from capital outlay to office equipment? Hearing no discussion, ask for or call for the vote on the second amendment.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
The Second Amendment passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now, Council, I'm going to speak now to the issue that Councilperson Popejoy alluded to a few minutes ago, and that was regarding an email that I sent out on September 29th at 12:43. I'm going to read the email to you now and ask for another amendment. According to my calculations, Council has decided to reduce, although not officially, the property tax levy portion of the proposed 2014 budget by approximately $247,000. I intend to request that Council redirect those planned cuts to a newly proposed line item within the Board of Works budget identified as land acquisition and development. My hope is to identify and purchase an existing building that would be used to house equipment that would be needed after we begin to perform trash collection services in-house. Several other opportunities are expected to present themselves in the near future, and I would like to be prepared to move quickly. If there is an agreement on this matter, I would assure you that any commitment to actually spend those funds would only take place after informing Council of the details surrounding that opportunity. So, Council, I'm asking that those approximately or exactly $247,000, although I believe the cuts were a little more than that, I would ask for Council to appropriate $247,000 into the Board of Works budget under a newly created line item described as land acquisition and development.
Need a motion for that?
I would need a motion and a
Make a
second.
motion, we do what he just said.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to create a new line item in the Board of Works budget described as land acquisition and development. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there a discussion? Is there any discussion?
I'm just thinking here, don't we have another line item for land acquisition? Is that one we took out? That was in Cleto, wasn't it?
That was in Cleto.
And we took that one out?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Never mind.
Well, it's in the capital improvement plan, Councilman Bishop, but it's not in their budget.
Okay.
It never was in their budget. It's always been in the capital improvement plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion regarding a motion to redirect $247,000 into Board of Works land acquisition and development line item? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on the third amendment to the budget.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
No.
The third amendment passes on a vote of 5 in favor, 2 opposed. Now, the budget in its entirety, as amended, on first reading. Is there any discussion regarding that? Call for a vote on the budget in its entirety on first reading.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Budget passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-32. Councilman Fox, please.
Resolution 2014-02.
32.
32.
32? Thought that's what I said. A Logansport Common Council resolution to appoint members of the Logansport Historic Preservation Commission. I motion for Resolution 2014-02.
Second.
32, sorry.
We have Planning Director Aaron Shaver in the back who's going to come up and speak to council regarding this issue.
Chris had to go to one of our other meetings, but he also said that Molly Graybill, who's currently on the board term, is up as well, and so she need to be added to that resolution. Somehow did not make it on the resolution.
Right now, we had 3 empty spots.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then one that's up also, I mean, she's on there, but her term is up, so she need to get the okay to be on the board.
And the way the ordinance is written now that controls this issue, we have to have this board filled before we can take any action on some of the downtown issues that we have coming up.
And this is basically just an approval by this board for the recommended people that the mayor would actually appoint to the board. So it's actually a mayor appointment. The council just approves those appointments.
We have Angie Burns, Vicki Lebo, and Krista Slusser.
Yes. And then Molly Graybill would be the additional.
How many individuals serve on that?
7.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 7.
It's very, very difficult to keep that board filled.
They don't meet but once a year unless something comes up. And so it's one of those where
And
the people that want to be active, you know.
And
I want
of these 3 that are listed, one member is deceased, the other one moved out of town. So it's,
Okay.
is there any discussion regarding Resolution 2014-32?
Do we need to make an amendment for Molly Graybill to be added?
And I'm told that her expiration is December 2018.
So technically, her term has not expired yet?
Technically
I would-
not, so you wouldn't have to swear her in, but we can go ahead and approve as that being an appointment and then swear her in at that time. if
Certainly
you
have
want.
no objection to doing that, although I haven't spoken to her about
Okay.
her willingness to serve.
Yeah, like I
That's
said,
what I
Chris
usually
was-
run into.
Chris was the one that's kind of the board that he runs, so, and unfortunately he had to go to another meeting. So if you want to keep that one off and come back with her later, that's fine.
That's what I would suggest we do. These are the names that were presented in the committee
Okay.
meeting. So,
Okay.
call for the vote on Resolution 2014-32.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Resolution 2014-32 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-33, that'd be Councilman Bishop, please.
Resolution 2014-33, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the transfer of certain monies in the Parks Department. Your Honor, I motion for a vote on Resolution 2014-33.
Second.
2014-33 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on Resolution 2014-33.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Resolution 2014-33 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2014-34, Councilman Buck, please.
Resolution 2014-34, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport appropriating certain monies for unappropriated expenses for the Logansport Police Department. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2014-34.
Second.
Resolution 2014-34 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on Resolution 2014-34.
Teresa Popejoy?
No.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
No.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Resolution 2014-34 passes on a vote of 5 in favor, 2 opposed. Ordinance 2014-42, Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2014-42, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending Ordinance 2014-11 regarding abandoned vehicles. Your Honor, I call for a first vote on Ordinance 2014-42.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-42 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Go ahead.
Please, if you would state your name and address for the record.
John Tidderick, 1917 Woodlawn. It really don't affect me, but how do you come up with 14 days? And Mr. Bishop here has talked about pulling the motor in his car.
Mhm.
I beg any of you to go out here and find a place that can rebuild that motor in 2 weeks and get it back in there. But he can't even put it in there.
We,
I rebuild motors.
we came up, we did change that from 72 hours after a lot of discussion, and we did get agreement with the 14 days. I actually agree with you, Mr. Tidrick, that it should be longer than that, but I felt that the only thing that I could really get was 14 days, but I certainly would agree to going longer than 14 days because I agree with you. I just had a set of heads on my car reworked, and it took 6 weeks to get those things done. So, 2 weeks isn't a very long period. And of course, the argument I made in committee was that the problem that we have that we're trying to solve is weeds growing around cars and rodents and insects and.
I'll agree with that.
And so, that was my argument, that doesn't happen in 2 weeks.
What's going to prevent you the next? What's 6 months?
I think,
Some of these cars and vehicles have been there for 10 years.
Right.
Get rid of them.
which is precisely what we're after. Not everybody is as responsible property owner as you are, and you have to have something on paper to back
2 weeks?
up.
You go find me a shop and get that motor done in 2 weeks.
I think you're mentioning the extreme cases here.
Yeah.
There are obviously people who need that time to be able to do the repairs on their car, but there are also people who will license their car and leave it sitting in their driveway or in their yard, like you say, for years. And we have no way to force them to move the car if it's legally plated. And it has to be operable, but we have no way of making sure that it's operable. There's all kinds of obstacles. All we're trying to do, I believe that we use...
so long the time, you can't show me that it runs.
No. We've had that very same case that's come up, where we tell somebody, show me that your car runs, and they say, I'm too busy. I don't have time to show you right now. I can't prove it to you. But their car's licensed, and we can't prove that it's not operable.
Okay, now, a car that is licensed by the state's got insurance on the state. How can you overrule the state?
We can. I'll leave that to the city attorney, but...
I think that the ordinance as written is legal. It's a policy question for the council, whether or not that they want more or less time than the 14 days. I point out there's an exception that's listed that says you can have one car in your driveway that you can work on that this isn't going to apply to. So this would apply to someone who had a car in their driveway that also had a car in their yard, and it would apply only to the car in the yard and not to the car in the driveway.
And with all due respect, some of the situations that I personally have dealt with after becoming mayor is a situation where there's essentially an illegal repair shop that's being operated out of somebody's home. And they will have 6 or 8 cars sitting, some in their driveway, off to the side of their driveway. It's an illegal repair shop. It's very hard to get them closed down, but this is the easiest way to stop that. And believe me, the neighbors, for every one that says 2 weeks isn't enough, there's 5 that say 2 weeks is way too long.
No, I was just going
I
by.
disagree
I know
with
you
those
can't
5,
get
but-
a motor rebuilt.
I understand, and I think that's an extreme case, but I also believe that our code enforcement department is more than fair in that they try to work with somebody. If we get a response, we invite them to come to the Board of Works meeting, and Board of Works has always, anybody who showed up and said, I need more time, we have always given them more time.
Mayor, I explained that to Mr. Tidrick today on the phone, that I did believe that if a person needed more time, that they could either they could come to Board of Works or maybe call the mayor's office and they could get that extended. I'd hope that would happen. Because I do, and I certainly, I'm the one that asked for the 14 days. I appreciate council approving that. That was an improvement over the 72 hours. I certainly, personally, I would support more time than that, but I don't, unless there's a motion.
It takes 6 weeks to get a set of cam bearings.
Unless there's
And-
another
and
motion to do that.
Those are the exceptions, Mr. Tidrick, and with all due respect, if somebody needs 6 weeks instead of 2, If they just let us know, if we can see a deadline, if we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, we're working with them. We always do work with them, but it's those people who ignore every contact, every time we attempt to contact them, that this is focused on, because honestly, they have no respect for their own property. Oftentimes, it's a rental property, and sometimes they even move away from the rental property and leave the car sitting there. It's an out-of-state landlord. He doesn't know the car's there, and so we deal with it for another 3 months. There are very little options, but this is an ongoing problem. I can remember dealing with this particular issue in 1995, the first time I served on city council. It's an ongoing issue.
I will also, I'll reiterate that what I said in committee also, though, that this doesn't become a problem in 2 weeks or 72 hours. So we're talking about it becomes a problem when it's there for, months or,
I've seen
whatever it takes
vehicles
time
sitting
for
around
weeds to
10
grow up.
years. I know vehicles set around for 10 years, never had plates on them.
I think that's what we're trying to address here is those kind of issues.
Yeah, but you're getting down on the low end.
If I could, I could read the exceptions. Do you have the exceptions list? It's section 4 exceptions. I could read those to you if you want me to.
Oh, I can read them.
I mean, the one that you might be concerned about is, and Randy mentioned it, was this article does not apply to the following vehicles. Number one vehicle is permitted to be sitting on private property per residence if it is owned by the resident and is being worked on by the resident, only if it's parked in the driveway.
Yeah, so we did
And
give
then-
one
I
exception.
had to
And then there's
I had to extend my driveway to make sure one of my vehicles was sitting on the driveway.
Okay, then there's also 2, Gary.
Yeah, there's 2. There's more. There's 4 more exceptions. Number 2, a vehicle stored as the property of a member of the armed forces of the United States who is away on active duty assignment and or college student who is away at school. Number 3, all vehicles located on a zoning approved vehicle sales lot or customer vehicles at a service facility that is legally licensed. Number 4, a vehicle located upon property licensed or zoned as an automobile scrapyard. And 5, a vehicle registered and legally licensed under the Indiana Code as an antique motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I actually have another problem that I've brought up before too, is number 2 that Gary just read, a vehicle stored by a member of the armed forces or a college student. I certainly believe that I don't think you can argue that that's discriminatory. It's whether you want to be able to allow that. It's one thing, but I don't, same thing, if that is truly a problem, I don't see why it's not a problem if it's just because it happens to be a college student or somebody that's in the service. So, I do think that's discrimination. Your next door neighbor, just because you don't have a college student, you can't do it, but the guy next door can. So I'm just saying I don't agree with that.
The only time a college student is if they're a freshman year. After that, they can take their vehicle. And as far as the armed forces thing is, I was in the service. If you're permanently in the service, you're, say, over 4 years, you get them orders to go to yours, that is your address, permanent
Right.
address. It's not Logansport, Indiana. It's wherever them orders told you you are at.
If there's one thing I'm confident of, that is that we're never going to have an agreement 100% on everything in here. It's just impossible to do. We're just trying to make it better and trying to have...
Ask for an amendment.
Okay.
I'm going to ask to strike number 2.
Section
and-
4, number 2?
Yes. Just see how that goes. Strike number 2, it says vehicle stored by a member of the armed forces of the United States or is away on active duty for a college student who is away from school.
Okay. That's an amendment. Is there a second?
I would like to just say that's really easy to strike that, but then, I'm sorry, my dad served too, if you want to pull that straw out and play it.
So did mine.
How do you prove somebody, I would want some proof that somebody was truly serving overseas some way, or that little Johnny is away at IU Bloomington. That's just my 2 cents for what it's worth, because I can see that quickly becoming a cop-out deal.
Yeah.
It's all too easy to use that excuse.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to strike under Section 4, Number 2. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any more discussion regarding the amendment? Call for a vote on the amendment.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
No.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
No.
Gary Fox?
No.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
No.
Teresa Popejoy?
No.
The amendment fails on a vote of 2 in favor and 5 opposed. Now, ordinance 2014-42 in its entirety.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
No.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-42 passes on first reading on a vote of 6 in favor and 1 opposed.
Your Honor, can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes, please.
I want to go back just a minute. I don't know if I can legally or not, but I just want to say that the ordinance transferring monies within the police department, I read that backwards, thinking that we were transferring money from a supply for more additional officers. I voted no, and then I reread it and remembered the committee that we had, and I do support that. I don't know if I can change my vote or not, but I wanted to make that public. That was my mistake as I was reading through that. 214-34.
For the radios?
Yeah, for the radios. That was my mistake.
Okay. Legal counsel has advised us to continue the meeting while he tries to research the answer.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ordinance 2014-43. I believe that's going to be Councilman Liddell again.
Ordinance 2014-43, an ordinance to amend 2004-09 establishing a rating day fund pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-8-5.1. Your Honor, I call for a first vote on ordinance 2014-43.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-43 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2014-43.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
No.
Teresa Popejoy?
No.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
No.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-43 passing on a vote of 4 in favor and 3 opposed on first reading. Ordinance 2014-44 has been voided. Ordinance 2014-45. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the additional appropriation of monies for the cemetery. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-45.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-45 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-45.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-45 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed on first reading. Ordinance 2014-46. Councilman Fox, please.
Ordinance 2014-46, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the additional appropriation of monies for the Parks Department. I motion for ordinance 2014-46.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-46 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-46.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-46 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-47. Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Ordinance 2014-47, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the expenditure of funds from the non-reverting rainy day fund. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-47.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-47 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on, I'm sorry, did you have discussion, Councilman
Well, I was
Bishop?
just going to ask, I can't actually recall, this was from a tax sale, purchased property?
That's when we, oh, can I speak?
Yes, please.
That was when we did the tax sale way back when, but we never ever put it in as an ordinance, and it should have been an ordinance because we took it out of the rainy day fund.
So it's a bookkeeping thing.
Yeah, it's been a while back then.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Ordinance 2014-47 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any more discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2014-47.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes?
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Polstroy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-47 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-48. Councilman Buck, please. I'm sorry, yes, 48.
48. An ordinance of the ordinance 2014-48, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, regarding polygraph testing for the police and fire departments, amending ordinance 2014-14. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-48.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-48 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-48.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes?
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Teresa Polstroy?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-48 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-49. Councilman Bishop, please.
Ordinance 2014-49, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, regarding a fund for the police and fire department polygraph testing. Your Honor, I make a motion for a vote on ordinance 2014-49.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-49 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-49.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Teresa Polstroy?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes?
Ordinance 2014-49 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-50. Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2014-50, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving payment for publication notices. Your Honor, I call for a first vote on ordinance 2014-50.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-50 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on ordinance 2014-50.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes?
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Teresa Polstroy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-50 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-51. Councilman Liddell, please.
Ordinance 2014-51, an ordinance establishing a complete streets policy for the City of Logansport. Your Honor, I call for a first vote on ordinance 2014-51.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion regarding ordinance 2014-51? Aaron is in the back of the room and has been working very hard on this, I know, along with Councilman Bishop and some others. If there's any questions, I would...
Well, I see where it says to make walking and bicycling more convenient. What about walking, bicycling, and running more convenient? That would fit, wouldn't it?
Run and walk.
Just walk.
Councilman Hastings, the way that you're running now is not really considered running.
I was going to say the same thing. But
When you're running, it looks like you're walking, so...
In the day.
Is that in the form of an amendment, Councilman Hastings?
Yes, it is.
You'd like to add running? And which section is that?
I don't hear a second.
I'll second it for you, Charlie.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to add...
looking at where it's at, Charlie.
Yeah, in the first whereas.
Okay.
Walking, bicycling, and running
Right,
After bicycling, we're going to add the words "and running."
correct.
It's been moved and properly seconded to make the amendment. Call for a vote on the amendment.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
I suppose yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe
For
Buck,
Charlie.
In honor of seniors, yes.
Gary Pop,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
The amendment passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed.
One amendment.
Now ordinance 2014-51 in its entirety.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Pop.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-51 passes as amended on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2014-52. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Ordinance 2014-52, the rezone of what is generally known as the mall area to Lexington Village PUD and the addition of section 608 to the Logansport and Fringe zoning ordinance. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on ordinance 2014-52.
Second.
Ordinance 2014-52 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2014-52.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-52 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Council, I know this is totally unexpected. I'm going to lay this out there. It's entirely up to you. I would ask you to consider adopting ordinance 2014-52 on second reading tonight. I realize it would take a suspension of the rules by a unanimous decision to do that. I certainly understand if you don't wish to do that, but from the city standpoint, I think it would be very beneficial for us if we could go ahead and do that tonight. It moves things along very quickly if we do. Entirely up to you.
I'll make a motion to suspend rules for ordinance 2014-52.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. This is on suspension of the rules to consider second vote on ordinance 2014-52. Call for the question. Call for the vote, I'm sorry.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
The rules are suspended to allow consideration of ordinance 2014-52 on second vote. Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2014-52? Call for a vote on ordinance 2014-52 on second reading.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2014-52 passes on second reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Council, thank you very much for everything that you've done tonight. I know it's a lot of hard work. We've been here for a little over or right about an hour right now, and that doesn't come close to reflecting the number of hours that we have in this meeting. It's probably no less than 20, and I know for some of you it's more than that. Thank you very much. Are there any board member comments?
What about Resolution 2014-34, Your Honor?
I've been trying to look that up for you, Councilman Liddell. All I can find here in the ordinance, I have marked as ordinance 284. This was first passed in 1974. It says, on the passage or adoption of any ordinance or resolution, the yeas and nays shall be taken and entered in the record. There's no other guidance, so I have to
Okay.
interpret that to mean that they're entered into the record permanently. And I think the reason for that is if we allow someone to change their vote, if it was a 4-3 vote, that could change the result of the vote, or
Right.
several people could get together and change their vote, or come in separately.
Right.
Now, I think that we just saw, though, the council can suspend the rules and allow for a revote on that if the council wishes to do so. And I think that avenue is definitely available.
Well, it doesn't change it. I felt bad because I know I talked to Mike in that meeting and was supportive of that, and then I was reading through and I thought something else. So it's not a big deal. It passes. After going, I messed up. So
Councilman Liddell has definitely made a good record and explained, I can explain what happened to everyone's satisfaction, I think.
yeah.
Okay, are there any board member comments now? Councilman Bishop.
Today, I was able to view a recording of WFI's Mayor of the Day.
Mayor Monday.
Mayor Monday, yeah, Mayor Monday. And I just wanted to say Mayor Franklin just did an outstanding job of representing Logansport on that program Monday.
Thank you.
Very good job.
Appreciate it very much. Are there any other board member comments? All right, miscellaneous business, including any matters not already considered. Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.